Hello everyone, I'm Chester44 and welcome to this Let's Play Blades of Avernum. Last episode, we completed a scenario called Embers of Rebellion, which was kinda a fairly well done scenario, I'd say. I mean, granted, this FSS guy seems to be fairly good at making scenarios, but still, it was fairly well done. Now we're moving on to one where I've actually heard the name of this scenario a few times. I can't remember where or in what context, only that I've heard it before, which is promising. So, let's move on to Warp. Time flies when you're saving the world. It's a quiet night as you cross the wide open plains of Torless. The stars are coming out, and you're starting to consider setting up camp for the night. Your keen adventurous senses immediately start nagging you. It's too quiet. As if on cue, you hear what sounds an awful lot like a thunderclap. You glance up at the clear night sky and immediately head towards the sound. Eventually, a small stone building comes into view at the top of a hill. There are no windows, but you don't really see where else the sound could have come from. As you approach, you can hear shouting and screaming coming from the building. How ominous. High energy magic, Torless division. We'll go into the building in a minute. Because I am doing what I always do. Still, I'm very curious to see what the end result will be here. Alright. As you move to open the door, it flings open of its own accord. A group of panicked mages rushes out, clutching piles of paper, worn books, and at least one live rat. A few forgotten papers flutter to the ground, and one last apprentice skitters past you. As the dust settles, you hear a woman's voice call from inside. "Fine! Run, you gutless bastards!" Huh. Does this scroll say anything at all? You start to read the scroll until you realize that you don't really know where to start. The scroll is filled with highly specific, highly esoteric arcane writings. Can't make heads or tails of it. As you enter the building, you can feel the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. The familiar feeling of concentrated magic washes over you. It's clear that this place is some sort of arcane facility, but you have no idea what it's for, or why it would clear out so quickly. It's awfully ornate, though. Your attention is drawn to the signs of a hasty exodus. Cast-off belongings, trampled glassware, and piles upon piles of papers. And the large stampede of mages running out of there hastily. And one mage storming angrily around the room. She doesn't seem to have noticed you yet. This woman is dressed in robes similar to those of an apprentice mage. However, they differ enough to suggest that she is no longer an apprentice. Her eyes practically glow with rage as she notices you. "Good! Adventurers! You saw those cowards! We're facing a catastrophe here, and those bastards would rather save a few books than their own skins. Unbelievable! Well, it doesn't matter now, because you're going to help me. And no, you don't get a choice. My name is Martha, and you're going to help me save the fabric of time." Okay? She nods. "Good. Now listen carefully if you want to make it out of this alive. My mentor is a powerful mage named Athalia. I've worked with her for years, and so I know things about her that other people don't. Her colleagues wonder how she commands such power, but I know. Back when she was an apprentice herself, she summoned a demon from the distant realms. She bargained with it for power and took the deal. I never learned the terms, but it doesn't matter now. For whatever reason, Athalia decided that she regrets the deal, and this led her to experiment with her power. Are you with me so far?" "I think so." "Your mentor was an apprentice when she summoned a demon and made a deal for power. And now, whatever that deal is, well, it's a deal with a demon, so it always goes wrong. Obviously, it started going wrong, and she regrets it and wants out. And that's what she experimented, and that's what her experiments are. So yes, I'm with you so far." "Good. Now, I've helped Athalia with our experiments for years, and quite frankly, they have a theme. She has been obsessed for years with controlling the flow of time. For the longest time, her efforts were purely theoretical. Lately, they have taken an unusually practical turn. She has perfected a few spells that speed up her own actions and can very easily slow the actions of others. I thought that would be the end of it. course, I was wrong. She busied me with research in the archives all about portals, specifically the exact manner in which portals maintain a folded conduit in space linking two areas, without risking an implosion throughout the range. No sooner had I produced a meaningful equation modeling the exact distortion than she sent me to work in the alchemy lab. Of course, I knew something was amiss. Understand? Yes? Okay, good. So of course I wasn't going to stick around in the alchemy lab, not when I was sure that my mentor was about to do something foolish. I went down to check on her, and the door to the test chamber was locked. I knocked, and all I could hear was Athalia chanting. I thought for a second that I was overreacting, and then it felt like a bolt of lightning struck the building. I could hear howling winds and loud crackling, and then the door flew off the hinges. Inside, the room was swirling with raw elemental magic. At the center of the test chamber there was a portal, and there was Athalia. She stepped into the portal and disappeared. She's joked to me that if she had the chance, she'd go back and decline the demon's deal, but I think she finally did it. She went back in time. Do you understand? Yeah, I think I get it. Naturally, the other researchers fled as soon as they felt the explosion. Those test chambers are built to contain anything, and if they don't, it's immediate grounds for evacuation. But I didn't expect them to be such cowards. But it doesn't matter, because you're here and you get to help. You see, there's a major problem with Athalia's portal. I said earlier that I had researched an exact measure of the portal's preservation of the folds of space intervening. Here's the problem. It's only calibrated for the specifics of space. The challenges presented by chronological leaps are immense, even more so when you factor in anti-chronological leaps like Athalia's. It can't work the same way. But she forced the portal structure with her power, and now it's unstable. You're familiar with unstable portals, hopefully. Well, this is 1,000 times worse. I won't bother with the specifics you don't want to know. Are we clear? Yes. Good. Now, the portal itself isn't the worst part. I can close the portal, particularly since I think I know the formulas she used. The real problem lies in what Athalia could do if she attempted to change the course of history. The slightest change propagated throughout time can result in untold changes down the timeline. In fact, it could invalidate the trip back itself, resulting in a time paradox. The results of that, well, the world would have to adjust. That adjustment could take any form. We don't know exactly which form of time the world would take, and we could cease to exist. Or the timeline could attempt to integrate both realities, which would be messy and destructive. So now that you know exactly what we're up against, let me tell you what I want from you. Are you still following? Close enough, yes. Good, good. Now, there's little we can do here apart from close the portal, and that won't help prevent a paradox. It would just trap Athalia in the past, and ideally we can rescue her. That means that you'll have to use the portal. I need to stay here to keep it under control to the best of my ability, but you need to use the portal in Test Chamber B, go back in time, and convince Athalia not to meddle. Let me repeat that just to be perfectly clear. You need to use the portal, go back in time, and stop Athalia. Bring her back if you can. Now quick, go down to the test chamber and use the portal. I need to go find those scrolls and see if I can correct the portal's deviation before the flux consumes it. With that, she runs off, leaving you alone and confused. Okay. Our task is now clear. Go back in time and stop someone from screwing it up. We'll take a look at things here, I guess. Excuse me. This door is locked. Can't pick it. This panel is covered in buttons and knobs. There's also a small display which reads locked. You press a button at random and nothing happens. Okay. The smell alone tells you that this room is an alchemical lab of sorts. Flasks line the tables and raw reagents litter the floor. Like everywhere else, it looks like people left in a hurry. It appears that someone left something brewing. Nothing in there. Poison potions, why? Oh, but there's some herbs in here. Okay. Hopefully whatever's brewing doesn't cause problems later. Oh, some coins. Actually, what are we wearing? Because this is a... Oh, pants of power, nice. Okay, we got a few things here. Okay, not too bad. Not gonna take that. I don't know if I have things to sell. Yeah, what the hell, I'll take it anyway. pick the lock here. We got a torque and strength potion, healing herbs, and an energy potion. Who needs that? You need it. Gold ring. Healing potion and curing potion. Looks like this is cafeteria. Yep, and here's the food place. Athalia Kareni, Director of Theoretical Magic. Not getting in her room. Horace Wildberg, Director of Operations. Not getting in his room. Marvin Esgrave, Empire Liaison. Not getting in his room. Archives. This room is unmistakably the library. Rows of bookshelves stuffed with tomes and scrolls stretch out ahead of you, though many were clearly looted as the building emptied out. A simple glance at a dropped scroll tells you that most of these papers will be beyond your understanding. You can hear someone rummaging around in the shelves. You sort through some of the stuff on the shelves, but can't find anything that looks useful, or coherent for that matter. Most of it is highly specific to other people's work. Yeah, I know, it's probably not going to be anything, but I'm checking anyway. There's that mage, whose name I don't think we have ever actually got. Martha. Martha anxiously paces the archives, arms loaded with scrolls and tomes. She occasionally stops to glance at a paragraph or two. What? What do you want? What was I supposed to do again? Go downstairs, use the portal, and stop Athalia from altering history. She snaps at you before going back to her books. Look, you never know. Something could be in one of these. And the answer is no, there wasn't. That was a waste of time. Still, and no one getting in there. Alright, let's go down. You descend into the basement for the first time, and the rest of your hair starts to stand on end. The air itself feels thick with the unmistakable crunch of magical energy. You can hear a loud thrumming down the hallway on your right. Artifact storage. Not getting in there. You can feel a blast of charged air as you walk down the hall and can't help but notice a blinding light coming from a doorway at the end. Test chamber A. Well, B is the one we need to go to. Mundane storage. Can't get in any of these. Test chamber C. Drying room. Ooh! Well, nobody's in here, so... Ow! Oh! I didn't realize there was a black shade in there. Hold on, reloading. Right, back to where I was. Let's not go in that drying room. There may be a lot of stuff in there, but I don't want to fight that right now. You are nearly blinded by the light coming out of this room, and almost deafened by the noise. Cascades of elemental energy clash around the room, changing from one element to another without warning. At the center, just like Martha said, is a portal, and it's nothing like you've ever seen. The portal seems out of sync with the rest of the room in a way you can't describe. There's no doubt in your mind that this is the portal causing all the trouble. You just have no idea how to go about using it without being obliterated by the swirling chaos. Martha appears in front of you with a clap of thunder, adding to the already impressive noise in the room. Oppressive. Oh, good, you found it. She glances over her shoulder at the portal and briefly nods. Sorry I took so long. I had to look something up so I could stabilize the portal. Didn't want you getting through the portal before then. She turns to face the portal for a moment, and then starts shouting some strange arcane syllables. You can barely hear her over the storming chaos. You wait for a moment, trying not to think about the sheer power needed to pull off this kind of madness. Then Martha turns back to you, eerily silhouetted by the portal. There! Go stop Athalia! Okay. Yes, step into the portal. You step into the portal and the storm of elemental magic overwhelms you. Your vision goes black as the sound of howling wind batters your ears. You groggily awaken, feeling as if your entire body is one giant muscle cramp. You're warm. Uncomfortably so. As you open your eyes, you realize that you're on the floor. Slowly, you stand up and get your bearings. You're in a small room with what appears to be a bunch of herbs laid out to dry, meaning you're probably somewhere in the basement still. Of course, for all you know, the portal could have malfunctioned. You could just be down the hall from Martha and the portal. One thing is certain. You feel like you've traveled a great distance in a very short time. I'm not going to take those herbs this time. Thankfully, someone left this door open. You'd have hated to be stuck in an oven. You hear footsteps coming from somewhere, but you can't see anyone. A serious-looking mage materializes out of thin air. She holds up a hand and puts a finger to her lips. What catches your attention, however, is her face. She looks young, but her hair is streaked throughout with gray. Her eyes are dominated by oversized pupils, and her skin seems to glow. Something tells you that this must be Athalia. You try to move forward, but Athalia motions for you to stop, and you notice a thin, invisible barrier materialize in front of you. Perhaps you should try talking to her. Athalia is a tall, imposing woman who basically radiates arcane power. She moves her lips to speak, but you don't hear any sound come out. However, you do hear the words in your head, a very strange experience. I am Athalia Kareni, Director of Theoretical Magic at this facility. Do not move, do not speak. Think your replies and think carefully. Who are you and why are you here? Martha sent us. Athalia pauses, clearly puzzled. Yes, Martha. Now why would Martha have sent you here? She sent us to stop you. She scowls. She does not understand the gravity of the situation, and neither do you. I am aware of the risks, but I am prepared to accept them. Clearly one of those risks is disposing of you. She waves a hand, and you feel as though someone has shot compressed air into your ears. If you had to guess, you'd say it was a silencing spell of some sort, particularly because Athalia takes this opportunity to yell at you. You will not interfere with my plans! Well, that could have gone better. Oh boy. Okay. So now we're attacking Athalia, who doesn't want to be stopped at all, clearly. Athalia stumbles, looking up at you with sheer disgust in her eyes. You can see strands of magic shimmering around her hands as she speaks. I do not have time for your games. You have no idea what I am sacrificing to be here right now, or what I have endured. I cannot be set back, not now. With that, she traces a complex sigil in the air, and you become aware of a set of thin green lines leading from you back to the room where you first appeared. You watch as Athalia makes a chopping motion with her hand, and then you briefly see the green line severed. You almost manage to swear before everything goes black. A familiar, twisting, burning pressure tries to crush you as you fall through the void. You slowly regain consciousness with a pounding headache to remind you that you're not dead yet. You open your eyes to find Martha standing over you. All right, I assume things did not go as planned. Martha looks at you nervously, as if surveying the crash site. When she's satisfied that you're mostly in one piece, she speaks. Well, what happened? It didn't go very well. You describe your encounter with Athalia, and Martha winces. Lovely, so she can't be reasoned with, and she knows how to banish you. It was a long shot, I'll admit, but we had to try it. Luckily, the portal is holding together, and I don't think it will implode anytime soon. Of course, if Athalia begins propagating changes back down the timeline, then who knows what will happen. Well, then what now? Martha doesn't speak for a long time. Then I guess the only thing to do is to make sure she does as little damage as possible. I think we might have to help her. The faster she gets it over with, the fewer changes she can make. Of course, then what happens to us is a completely different matter. There's no way of knowing what will come from Athalia's meddling. So what do we do? Well, the demon. That's it, the demon. If you can destroy the demon, then Athalia will arrive to find that... Wait, that assumes that she mistimes it. And then it still creates a paradox. Oh, how about this? If you manage to destroy the demon before she can, then her younger self will surely try to summon it again. But Athalia will find no demon when she returns, so she will come back to the present. Maybe, just maybe, that will be a subtle enough change to prevent a wholesale collapse of the timeline. It's worth a shot, at least. Athalia nods, satisfied with her own answer. So that's it. Go back and destroy the demon. I'll try to finesse your arrival, and I'll keep an eye on this end of the portal. With that, she goes back towards the portal. Wonderful. So that's our plan now. Ow. Yeah, step back into the portal. You step into the portal, and this time you feel like you're ready for it. Then you immediately black out. This time the pain is worse. It feels as if you run straight into a wall at top speed. Thankfully, you don't think you're injured all that badly. As you open your eyes, you realize that you're flat against a wall. At least that explains your initial reaction. You're in a hallway, alone. You don't hear footsteps, which is good. No sign of demons, which is both good and bad. Of course, you still have no idea whether you're in the right place or time. You just have to hope that Martha got it right again. You catch a faint whiff of brimstone, and then you hear a click coming from the north. I know where that is. Must be in here. And you know what? We'll investigate this room in the next episode, because... yeah, we got another 3 minutes or so, but I don't want to start it here. It could be a long thing. So next episode, we'll go into the room and hopefully stop this whole madness. That'll be in the next episode. So until then, I'm Chester44, that is Fox, Sheik, Bonnie, and Draco. This has been a Blades of Avernum Let's Play, and I shall see you all next time.